Grand Rising. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. I am not going to be on here too long. Do something real quick. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Grand Rising, Danita from the NC. Grand Rising. This is my first live, y'all, on here. It's my first live on here. I just wanted to get on here and come talk to y'all for a minute. See if y'all will talk back to me. What's going on? What's going on? I wanted to talk about this past Thanksgiving. I would typically do my live on a different platform, but this is my first time going live on this platform. I just wanted to get a little feel of what it was going through. Thank you. I appreciate that. And you know what, Danita? I had a better holiday this year than I did the previous year. See, last year, around this time, a lot of these videos, let me start right there. A lot of my videos that you guys see, they are mainly like clips and just pretty much clips, right? But I wanted to come on here to touch with you guys, so I can get another feel of a different platform. I want to talk to you guys live on here, you know what I mean? And so I just didn't want to keep giving you guys clips and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? I want to actually talk to y'all, about certain things, okay? So, thank you, Danita. I'm glad you understand that, because I was kind of skeptical about, going live on this thing. But nonetheless, I'm going to go ahead and jump into this thing that I was talking about. Y'all see my... So, last year, this Thanksgiving, for me, it went a lot better this year than it did for last year. Seeing as that I did a lot of work over the time. See, I lost my son last year, November 9th, 2024, okay? And when I lost my son, that Thanksgiving was like literally like weeks away. And so that Thanksgiving was just done. And then so was the Christmas after that. And then so was the New Year. And then his birthday is in the same month of the New Year. So I had a lot going on at that time. You understand what I mean? And so this year I planned on doing something different, because like I said, I made a lot of videos. I've been trying to do a lot of healing. I've been trying to, get around the grief and everything. And I've just been documenting my journey as I go. Okay, so that's what I've been doing. I just been documenting my journey as I go, because I didn't know that it was many people out here that felt like me, because many people don't talk about this. And I understand why they don't talk about this stuff, y'all, because it's painful. It's painful. It can be painful at times to talk about this stuff right here and to have to relive the stuff that you talk about. I understand it. I get it. But I chose to talk about mine, to give people an open space, a safe space where they can, get theirs off too, because there's many people out here that are living in grief for years. And I'm not saying that it's because they can't get over it, but there's many people over here that's living in grief for years and years and years on, because for one, they don't have a safe space to even get that off, to let it off, what they feel and what they went through and the things that they were hearing and the stuff that they experienced after the passing of their child. Because I'm gonna tell you, that right there, when my son passed, that opened up something else in me, and I really just couldn't tell you what it was, but it really did. It opened up something else in me, and when it opened up something else in me, you just didn't see everything the way that you seen it before. You just didn't see it like that no more. And when I look back at that right there, just paying attention to what was going on, it was like some type of breakthrough, some type of transformation, something. And this right here is the reason why I always said, pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to what's happening in the inside of you, because it's a lot going on, and your spirit at that moment is at a very high level. And when you at that high level like that, if you're allowing grief to come and jump in like that right there, you would never see these things that I speak of. Because some of these things, even when I was in my grieving moments, I was still paying attention and I was seeing certain stuff. And I'm telling you, man, this stuff right here, you are going to see very clear. You're going to see this stuff. You're going to see this stuff very clear. So, now here it is, when the holidays come around, that vision is going to get deeper. It's going to intensify. That's why I said when I lost my son, these holidays didn't start to look the same no more. When I lost my son, I didn't see these holidays the same no more. They start to look really different. And I start to not feel the good part of the holidays for what I accepted it as before. It started to feel like draining. Okay, it started to feel draining, because when those holidays came around, that first year that he passed, that first year that my son passed, when those holidays came around, that very first year, I didn't feel nothing good about it. There was nothing good that came out of that right there, okay? My energy was at its lowest. I didn't even want to live. I ain't want none of that stuff right there, man. None of that. Nothing meant nothing. I'm telling you. And so that right there, when I started to look at that, and I started to pay attention to spirit, you know what I'm saying? Spirit started to tell me what that was that I was thinking. Spirit started to tell me, hey, straighten up. Spirit started to tell me, hey, pay attention. Don't mess with that alcohol at this time. Leave that alcohol alone. Because see, that's one of the things I'm telling y'all right now. That's one of the things that we do when we lose a loved one, especially somebody that's really close. I don't know how you took it when you lost your child, you know, but it was many, many, many people that when they lost their child or a close loved, when they turn to alcohol, as that right there supposed to be some type of pillow or something, you know, that make it worse. It make it worse when you do that right there. This is the reason why I didn't drink no alcohol around the time when my son passed, at least up until the time of his funeral. Okay, in between the time that he passed and his service, there was no alcohol for me, because I needed to pay attention. It was people that I needed to talk to. It was important people that was going to call my phone that I need to talk to, and I need to talk to these people right. You know what I'm saying? They need to be talking to a sound mind. Somebody in that right there has to be of sound mind throughout everything that's going on. And if that have to be you, that right there is going to be the beginning of where your strength is going to start, because it's going to take a lot of strength for you to be able to absorb that and then still deal with what you're dealing with. I'm telling you. And sometimes this stuff could be so powerful, it could override the fact of what's going on. You ain't even got time to grieve. Not properly. You won't be able to grieve properly, you know, in many cases. So here it is. When it come down to the Thanksgiving this year, because I done did so much work over the past years, I didn't think that this year would be worse. And it wasn't. And it's mainly because I didn't think that it was going to be worse. Because, see, I see the play now. These holidays come around here after you done lost your child, and it's going to be you. I realized that if I would have fell in a slump coming around the Thanksgiving holiday, that would have been me doing that right there. The holiday is just another day. My mindset would have did that right there to me. And if I would have allowed that to come in, if I had allowed that to come, see, that's where the spirit at. Now pay attention, because when that holiday came around, this is why I be trying to tell you, pay attention to your spirit and your energy. Because when that holiday came around, your energy dropped because your child wasn't there. You see what I'm saying? But see what it was, the way I interpret it. Let me get that clear. The way I interpret that was that right there was the evil spirit of the holiday that we always thought was good because it was dressed up in turkey and dressing and collard greens and fish and black eyed peas and sweet potato pies and the works, deviled eggs, chicken. It was dressed up real nice on the physical end. Right here with these eyes, it was dressed up real nice. I figured it out and I said, wait a minute, because all that stuff didn't matter. You couldn't have put the best plate before me after my son passed. That first holiday that came around here, that Thanksgiving holiday, you couldn't have put the best plate in front of my face and made me feel better. I ain't had no appetite. I ain't want to eat. So you couldn't have put that right there plate in front of me and expected me to change the way I felt. My energy was gone. Okay? And I'm going to tell you something. That not only was it gone on Thanksgiving, it was shot. Because it moved up. I ain't going to lie to you. It moved up. When it got around to the Christmas holiday, you only got a month left after the Thanksgiving holiday. You get a month left and then you got Christmas. Okay? Now, when Christmas come in, watch out for that spirit. It's going to come in again. That's what's going to happen. That's what I interpret it as. You can interpret it as you want. Because and then when I said that spirit, I'm talking about it's going to be like an evil spirit. And the reason why I identify it as an evil spirit is because it takes your energy and it plummets it. Your energy goes down. Your child is not here and you going to be in shambles. You ain't gonna feel right. You don't care nothing about opening no gifts. You not in the spirit. You ain't none of that. Okay? Cause I'm trying to tell you, listen, you ain't gonna be none of that stuff. When at least for that first holiday. Now for me, it'll be my second holiday without my son, but it'll be the first complete year that he's been gone. So I haven't gotten around to the second Christmas yet. But that first Christmas, I was done. I literally tried to run away from the issue by going out of town, taking a road trip. And that right there was a way of literally trying to run away from the problems that I had here. And you know what happened? It followed me right on down where I was going. It didn't go nowhere. And this is how I know, that's how I recognize that as being an evil spirit, because I didn't get no good news. Along from the time I left my city till I got down south last year for the Christmas holiday, I didn't get no good news. So that means that with me looking back on it, that means that, hey, that evil spirit was riding with me the whole time. Because I didn't feel good at all. At all. I just couldn't recognize it as that. Because why? I was stuck in grief. You see what I'm saying? And then the full power come out on the day of Christmas. Especially if you got younger kids and they got to open up gifts and that other child ain't there to open up their gifts like you plan to do. And then that spirit come in there on you when you going in there shopping for your kids and you ain't shopping for that one that's gone. When you used to shopping for that child, man, that hit different. Okay? That hit different. Especially that first holiday. You in tears in the aisleway. Have you been shopping? You know, that first year, if you got younger kids after losing one and you went shopping, trying to, you know, keep it going for the rest of the kids or something like that, and you go shopping and you go down this aisle like, man, he would have loved this or she would have loved that. I would have got this right here for him. Oh man, that stuff right there, that's part of the spirit that I'm telling you about that's in you, that's tearing you apart because it feeds off of your grief. That's what is happening, and you know that it's feeding off of it. And how you know that it's feeding off of your grief? Because it intensifies in your grief. You sink deeper and deeper and deeper inside your grief. you sink deeper inside your grief. That's what happened. And that's how you know when that demon, what I like to call it because it don't feel good, that's when you know that demon spirit is sinking in more and more and more because you start to feel worse and worse and worse. Now you down up and down these aisles, you crying and you trying to hold it in, and you don't want your mate to see you crying. You really trying to hold it in tight. You really trying to hold it in tight. You see what I'm saying? The whole time, you got a whole evil spirit in you and you don't even see it because of the grief. Now, if you could see this right here, spirit, if you could see this spirit right here, then, if you could see this spirit, then what would happen is you can be able to do something about it. You can combat it. You know, sure, got you. So, like when this day come around, when Christmas come around, if this is your first go round, I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna let you know right now. Expect it to come. And now that you know to expect this right here to come, now that you know to expect this demon to appear, that you're not gonna see with the eyes, you gonna feel it in energy. See, that's what happened when you lost your child. Your spirit energy, it increased, and you feel this stuff. You're not gonna see it. In many cases, you're not gonna see it, depending on how awakened you are spiritually up here. And I didn't say religious, I said spiritual. I ain't talking about no religion. Let's get that straight right now. We're not talking about no religion. Okay, I said spiritual. Depending on how spiritual you are, you're gonna recognize that demon when it come in, and you gonna, hopefully, if this is your first time, you will be able to combat that. Hopefully you can be able to combat that. Can you be my TikTok baby? I'm a woman. Can you read my comment? I read it. So when you be prepared for this right here, okay? Just be prepared for this because it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And check this out. Not only that right there. Not only that right there. And the reason why I've been saying pay attention to your energy is because that right there is going to tell you how deep that spirit, that evil spirit, is penetrating you. And when you recognize that, you want to get that up out you. You know what I'm saying? You want to pull that right there stuff away. You know, you want to pull away from it. Now I'm at the point now where when that spirit come, it's like I'm already set to the place subconsciously. In many cases, it'd be like, listen, there it go. Here it come. You could feel it coming, because what happens is you start to get ready to cry. In many cases, it's like when you know you about to get ready to cry. It was something that triggered that. It was something that triggered that. And you have to recognize that. Hey, Sherry. You have to recognize that when you see that right there. And I'm telling you how to recognize it. You're not going to recognize it with these eyes. You're going to recognize it with your energy. That's what it's all about, y'all. At this point, after you done lost your child, it's about energy. Everything done changed for you. That's the reason why you don't see nothing the same no more. Even though everything is still in place the way it was, you don't see the stuff the same no more. You don't hear stuff the same no more. You really don't even see people the same no more. It's like you see spirits, okay? You can see spirits. It's like you can look at people and when you see when you feel their energy and you can see their spirit spiritually, not with these eyes. I'm talking about it just changes the game. And so now you recognizing stuff that you didn't see before. And so guess what's going to happen? These people that's closest to you, they not going to be there for you. They not going to show up for you like you think they going to show up for you. And you're going to recognize that and you're going to adjust accordingly. That's what's gonna happen. You're gonna adjust accordingly. You're not gonna when this stuff right here happens. When you the spirit in some of these people, like when I tell you, you're gonna get so sharp. This is the reason why you gotta pay attention and try to stay away from the grief. When I tell you, you're gonna get so sharp, you're gonna be able to hear conversations from across the room while you doing something different, and it's gonna have an answer to whatever problem that you have. Or you're gonna hear conversations from a distance that ain't got nothing to do with you, and you're gonna hear the energy, you're gonna hear the spirit, and you're gonna be able to feel the energy off these people. You going inside some crowds, you're gonna feel some energy, you're gonna see some spirits. I'm not playing. But if you stuck in grief, you're not gonna be able to see this stuff right here. And so that's the reason why I asked, how did your Thanksgiving go? I ain't talking about how did your food taste. What you thought I was talking about, how your food tastes? No, I'm not talking about how your food tastes. What's going on, dear? I'm not talking about how your food tastes. I'm talking about where did your energy go? After losing your child for that first holiday that came around, Thanksgiving, this past Thanksgiving, if this right here was your first Thanksgiving without your child, where did your energy go? Now pay attention to it. Because when Christmas time come around, that right there volume is going to turn up, and it's going to turn up on high on Christmas time. Whatever you felt this Thanksgiving, the days before Thanksgiving, now you passed it, okay? You done jumped that hurdle right there. The next hurdle is going to be, a little bit more taller, all right? So we're going to need you to, hey, you're going to have to get them calf muscles together, baby, because you're going to have to take a leap. You know what I'm saying? Because that first year for me, it wasn't there. It wasn't there. And I wanted it to be, and I tried my best. I was leaving the room when my daughter was opening up gifts. My eyes was filled up with all type of water and everything, man. Because I'm telling you, that it stings. That first year stings. I can't speak for the second year. Here it comes, the second holiday, first year. You understand? What's up, Billy the Kid? You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, this stuff right here is crazy. It's crazy. And so that's what I want to, let y'all know. For the ones that's going through this right here for the first time. I went through it for the first time. And here's the thing. Now, I wanted to say this right here, too. Let me also get this right here out. That first time that I went through this right here, it happened fast. It happened fast. And I'm going to tell you, once you get past, in many cases, once you get past these stream of holidays right here, the springtime, around the springtime, when the springtime come in, you gonna feel a upliftment of energy come up off of you that I'm telling you. When the springtime come in, you gonna feel a upliftment of energy come up off of you that I'm telling you. And recognize it, y'all. This is what you got. You're gonna have to recognize it. I had to recognize this because what happened was, after all the holidays done went by and his birthday done went by, guess what? At that point in time, everything that I was attached to, that we was attached to mutually, the biggest end of that right there was done and over with. Now I got at least a couple of months to breathe without having to worry about these holidays and different days coming around. Do you understand? I didn't have to think about that stuff. I could work on trying to heal myself. So because of the holidays and because of the way that the weather is structured and set up, it wasn't set up for me to go outside and take a jog and all that. I stay up here in the D. It was cold. It was freezing. I had to wait till the weather break, And so when the weather broke, I felt a release of energy as well. It's like when everything started to grow back, something happens. You see, it's something else opens up in you. I don't know what it is, but something else just opens up in you. Now, this right here is the first year after the holidays. After the holidays, it's going to open up for you. You know what I'm saying? This is what's it's going to open up for you. And then when it open up for you, you got to recognize that and accept that. Don't stay in that sunken place, because if you stay in that sunken place, you're going to keep on repeating the same thing over and over. And this right here is how people stay in this grief trap for years and years and years on. You see? And that's not what we trying to do. I did that right there, and I understood that being in grief is a sunken place down there, man. You don't want to be in that world down there, because that right there is where all the bad stuff is, in that grief area. After losing a child, being in that grief area, that right there is where the majority of the pain is. And when you recognize that, if you're trying to do any type of work on yourself to get yourself up out of there, you'll understand that, hey, you got to do the work. That I had to understand that. I had to understand that I had to do the work. And in order for me to do the work, I had to want to do the work. I couldn't stay back in victim world. You know what I'm saying? Because see, in cases where you done lost your child, in many cases like that right there, you a victim by default. But let me tell you something. Being a victim, victims lose. Victims lose. Name me a victim that gained something that was a victim. See, if you're a victim of something, typically something had to happen to you in a negative way in order for you to be a victim. See, we want to be victors. What's going on, Carolyn? We want to be victors in this right here. So therefore, when even in grief, for me, I couldn't stay in that area of grief, because only thing that screamed to me was victim. To me, just to me. That ain't gonna be the same for you. For me, it screamed victim, and I couldn't stay in that world. I had to start doing work on myself. I had to start looking and paying attention to the obvious. I had to start accepting things for what it was. It was stuff that, I promise you, on everything, it was stuff that didn't make no sense at all. What's going on, Barnett? It was stuff that didn't make no sense at all. When I tell you that it didn't make no sense at all, that I had to just straight up trust, this is what I was talking about, stuff that I probably wouldn't even trust before. I probably would have wrote it off and probably would have just, went on based upon what I knew with these eyes and these ears. All that right there stuff is turned off, and you hear with these eyes and these ears, both of them in the same spot, y'all. They're in the same spot, and you shutting up and you listening and you paying attention and you learning. You learning some stuff that is like, wow. And the crazy part is, in order for you to see this stuff, for me to see this stuff, I be asking myself, damn, did I have to lose my son to see this stuff? You see, because I was still stuck on my child passing, and I was still stuck on the funeral, and I was still stuck on the hearse, and I was still stuck on the burial grounds, and I was still stuck on the coffin, and I was still stuck on the people that was coming by, shaking and hugging me in the first row. And you know what I'm saying? I'm still thinking about the repast and all the pictures and all that stuff that you have to take. And then you're still thinking about the obituary and stuff like that. Man, listen, I was talking all this stuff right here on TikTok, and YouTube and Facebook. I'm talking all this stuff right here about TikTok, about looking at all these pictures and looking at all these videos. And I'm talking all this stuff like that right there, y'all. I messed around and ran past my son's obituary, and it damn near broke my ass down again. And I've seen pictures in my phone. I've seen the videos in my phone, so much to the point to where it's like I'm looking at another picture now. I'm looking at another video. I seen that obituary, and I'm like, damn, I went. See, what happened was I was doing a live. It happened in one of my lives. I got to go back. But it was one of my lives. Wherever live you seen where I had my son obituary in. Okay? I was doing a live, and I was trying to prove something. I went and grabbed his obituary during the live. I had to hold that in. Because that right there, that was a different type of sting right there. So you can't allow this right here to come in when you see the play. You can't allow that right there to come in. See, just me talking about it right now, it almost had me going. But see, I recognize the play. I recognize the play, so I was able to pull that back. I got that download telling me to stop it. Right there. I had a download telling me to stop it because of what I was just talking about and where it was taking me. And I'm saying this live with y'all, where it was taking me. It just told me to stop. It just told me to stop. You know? And like I said, you gotta listen to it. And you know? And like I said, you gotta listen to it. And when it tell you to stop and you so deep down to it and the energy that it takes to stop that, this right here is where the big pill come in at. Remember I tell you it's a hard pill to swallow. You gotta drink a lot of water. Yeah, because now you gotta take all that and you gotta harvest that. You gotta harvest that. And I'm gonna tell you why you harvest that. People say, no, you let it out, you let it out, you let it out. For me, let me tell you something. It's that. People say, no, you let it out, you let it out, you let it out. For me, let me tell you something. The reason why I started to harvest a lot of that grief and a lot of that pain and stuff like that is because I started to figure out that that's build your strength. Do you understand me? Spiritually, that's why I started to build my strength. Let me explain that right there, okay? I started to build my strength because when grief hit, you are at a low level. You are vulnerable at that point. You're vulnerable. And irrespective of the reason of your vulnerability, weakness is a byproduct of vulnerability, irrespective of whatever it caused it. And I'm saying that because I don't want to be insensitive. Again, I'm qualified to speak on it because I lost a child. But this is what's telling me. This is the download that I got for me. This is what my download was telling me. That being vulnerable, byproduct of that is weakness. So every time grief came in, if I reacted to the way that grief came in to me, if I reacted to that right there, okay, then what would happen is I would not be able to get stronger. It's a weak link. I can't get stronger. I won't be able to absorb the pressure because when the weak spot hit, I broke. See, now, when that right there energy started to come on and you absorb it, guess what? Over time, you get stronger, okay? And when you get stronger in this right here, spiritually, you can absorb a lot more that come into you, that grief. What's going to happen is it's going to build now. It's going to build. And what's going to happen is, like I said, it may happen randomly. But the thing about it is, it keeps you from being in this day in, day out feeling of grief and all this other stuff. What's going to happen is eventually one day it's going to explode. It's going to come down. It's going to come down. But for me, the reason why I took it that route, for me, it might not work for you that route, but the reason why I took it that route was because I had stuff to do in between that time. Everything is done. Son buried. You know what I'm saying? Bills done piled up. Money's done ran low. You know what I'm saying? The support done died down. Life is back to life, and they're done with that part right there. The spirit, you know what I'm saying, needs you to get back on key so you can rebuild yourself because you felt like nothing. I ain't feel like nothing. So I knew I had to rebuild myself because I totally lost the identity of the person that I was at the time. And so now, because I take all that energy and I harvest that right there, and I use it for strength, not for grief. I use it for strength, for spiritual strength. Should that right there come around and it explode just one time in 6 months, I think I did a good job, versus it exploding every 2 weeks. Because every time you do that right there, every time I did that, I noticed it was like I was losing another part of myself. I wasn't gaining anything from that. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't gaining anything from that. I was not gaining nothing from that when I was in grief. And that's the reason why I be pointing out certain stuff when I go back and I look at stuff. Again, I'm not talking about funeral services. The funeral services are there just to do that, provide a service for you and your loved one, and a beautiful one at that. But I'm talking about the spiritual energy that come connected with that funeral service. It keeps you from being able to get to your higher self, because you still watching that coffin close, and you still watching these people talking about come up to this doggone coffin and say your last goodbyes. Now everybody huddled up all that energy that's huddled up right there. It ain't no good energy. That stuff sticks with you, and it burns if you let it. It's gonna keep on burning, and that right there is where your focus is. And for that reason, you're not gonna be able to see this stuff. It's gonna be hard for somebody to tell you, or it's gonna be hard for you to accept. It was hard for me to accept a download that came to me and said, listen, I understand that what you're going through. When you get done going through your moment, I'll be right here to talk to you, because I keep on trying to tell you, whatever happened with your son, you're going to have to set that aside for a minute. That's done. And you know it's done. This is the way the download come to me. When y'all going through this, when you're going through what I had to go through anyway, what I went through, that stuff that was talking to me wasn't nice at all. It wasn't there to pat me on the back. It didn't pat me on the back. This spirit that was talking to me wasn't there. It was giving me some raw stuff. It was giving me some raw. It was giving it to me raw. I'm talking about at the worst moments. At the worst moments. And I did not understand why this stuff kept on coming to me like raw like that, man. Like, why is it just coming? And the reason, paying attention to your spirit, because when you start hearing stuff like that, you're going to have to decipher if this right here is a demon, or if this right here is your spirit guide. And again, I tell y'all how I started to recognize it was because I noticed that when I was in my grieving part, the biggest end of my grieving part, if it was a angel guide, or my spirit guide, or whatever it was, if it was that, what happened was, it's like you watching your spirit just stand right there on the side of you. Literally, it's like your spirit is standing on the side of you, and it's just sitting there looking at his watch like, okay, when are you going to get done with this? You still crying? You still in grief? And it's just tapping his foot. That's all you hear. It's just tapping his foot. This is what the download I got. This is how I knew that it was my spirit guide, because my spirit guide not only just stood there and asked me, hey, how long you gonna be doing this right here? Because I ain't got all day. How long you gonna be crying about your child? How long you gonna be doing this right here, man? Because you know you ain't doing nothing but hurting yourself. This is the stuff that you hear, and you like, man, I'm grieving right now, man. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. And the how you know that right there was a spirit guide, because it told you what you were doing. It told you what you was doing to yourself. And if you was being honest with yourself, you would say, yeah, I really am hurting myself by doing this. But you feel like you can't help it. You feel like you can't help it because it's coming to you and you don't know how to deal with it. You don't know no other outlet. You don't know no other way. You don't even know where to start your process on, even to start where to begin on grieving, recovering. It took me a long time to figure out, where do I began my recovery process. It took me a very long time. It took me a very long time to try to figure out, where do I get my recovery process from? Where do I start it? Because I didn't know. I was lost, y'all. I was lost. I didn't know where to start my recovery process. So now that I know what the spirit guide told me, the spirit guide gave me a solution. What was the solution? The spirit guide told me, stop doing this right here to yourself, because you hurting yourself when you do this. Okay? That right there is what the spirit guide told me. But you know what the demon told me? Because they both on the same realm. You want to hear? You want to hear what the demon? You want to hear what the demon said? Let me tell you what the demon said. The demon said, you remember how your son was going down in that ground? The demon was smiling when it said it. I seen it. The demon said, yeah, you remember. You remember that hearse, don't you? You was riding right behind it. Yep. You remember that, don't you? That demon said, hey, your son, he said, listen, and told me just like this. He said, listen, your son is dead, and you ain't never gonna see him again. The demon said, hey, what you gonna do about the situation? The demon said, hey, you gonna be stuck like this right here for a very long time. The demon said, hey, I got you this time. Yeah, I found a way. I finally got through to break you down. This is what the demon said. And when I recognized this stuff right here, see, none of that stuff right there that I said, none of that stuff had any type of solution behind it. That's how I knew that it was a demon, because it told me all the negative stuff that was going on around the time. You know, it was like rubbing in my son's passing in my spirit. It was rubbing that stuff inside my spirit. Do you understand? And so that's how I knew it was a demon, and it did not give me a solution. So I'm trying to figure out, and it took me a little minute. I had to do the work, but it took me a minute to figure out, like, how am I hearing the same voice, but it's telling me two different things? I recognized it was two different things, because one of them was telling me, hey, you doing this right here to yourself. Let me know when you're done. Okay, I can live with that. The other one telling me something else. It ain't telling me that I'm doing this to myself. It's telling me all the broken points, all the low points that was going along in that situation, and it ain't give me no solution. So that right there is how I knew that it was a demon. Because see, that demon cannot, and this right here is what I always go by at this point, unless something else comes along. This right here is what I always go by at this point, now that I've learned on how to separate the two. Because the demon is really good in slipping in there. You got to watch out for how that demon get in there. See, that demon come in there, it come through your spouse. That demon will come in through your kids. If it can't get through to you, it'll get through somewhere. It's going to get through somewhere. Again, I'm not talking about no religious stuff, okay? I ain't talking about none of that. I'm talking about some spiritual stuff that happened. Now listen, for that demon to be able to give you a solution, this is how you know that. This is how I knew that it was a demon, a evil spirit, is because it couldn't give me a solution for that entity. And I'm saying this, for that entity to be able to give me a solution, a demonic entity to give me a solution to help me, it would go against its entire being, its entire thing. So that demon cannot give you a solution that's going to be for your betterment. It's going to give you a solution that sound good and it might feel good, but it ain't going to be for your betterment, because your spirit going to say, nuh-uh, And that's how you going to know. That's how I found out. That's how I knew. Okay? That's how I knew. Because I was listening to my spirit. You're going to have to listen to your intuition. All that stuff is turned up on high. Lose a child, baby. All that stuff turned up on high. What happened to you? A lot of stuff just came up off of you. And I'm going to tell you something else. Like I said, when I was going through this right here, guess what happened? The stuff that was shedding off, hey man, it was painful. It was very, very, very painful. And so for what I did in the beginning, what I did was I absorbed all that because you wide open. Your energy, your spirit at this point is wide open. You know, at this point you wide open. Your spirit is wide open. So when my spirit was wide open, especially in the beginning, I started to look at all the horror stuff, take on all the stuff, you know what I'm saying, that I didn't want to prolong down the line, because it was going to do, it was going to re-spark that same energy again. So I went through all the horror stuff first. I ain't playing. I went through the autopsy pictures. I went through the funeral home signing, all that stuff. I did all that stuff, going back and forth, courts and all type of stuff, man. Listen, I did all the hard work, tried to do all the hard work first. Now, what I didn't do, I'm going to tell you what I didn't do. Again, what I didn't do was I did not go to my son's grave. I have had yet to visit my son's grave one single time. I haven't built it up in me like that to do that, because I'm still working at myself. You see, because Spirit done already done told me that, you know, Spirit already done told me that he already with me. He already with me. I don't have to, he already with me. And that was one of the things that changed the game too, y'all. I want to say that too. That was one of the things that changed the game on my grief. One of the things that changed the game on my grief, y'all. I'm not even gonna cut no corners with you. Man, I was smoking a blunt, man. And I was sitting down and I was thinking, and I heard my son's voice. This is the reason why I tell y'all, pay attention. You gotta listen to what's coming to you. Stop worrying about your child gone, because that's done. That's done. And I don't mean to say that in a, you know, but that's done. Listen to what's going on. Listen to what's coming to your mind. If you calm, that's the best. 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, you're going to be getting woke up. That's the best time to listen for it. But you listen for it when you in your downest times, when you in your grief moments, when you at the pit of your grief. Listen to what's going on in your mind at that point. If you can, listen to what's going on in your mind. For me, at this point, my mind was at ease, because I was sitting down and I was just thinking and thinking and thinking. And then I heard my son's voice. And my at that time, when I heard my son's voice, what I did was, and this is my spirit communicating with his spirit. I didn't know this at the time, y'all. I didn't know this at the time. I'm going back to speak on it now, but at that time, I didn't know it. I didn't know this right here is what was happening, y'all. I'm gonna tell you what happened when I noticed that right there. When I noticed that my son was talking to me, it changed the whole thing on the way I looked at this. What happened was, when he started talking to me, now this is me, I'm not saying nothing with my mouth, okay? I'm not saying nothing. This right here is all spiritual. He was running across my mind. And I kept on hearing him say, "Daddy, Daddy." And when I felt that it was him, my spirit spoke back to him. And my spirit, this was at the time now, said, "Man, Junior, I'm sorry you had to go through that. Daddy, really sorry. I'm sorry for that. You know, I really hate that you had to, you know, take that ambulance ride by yourself. I hate you had to be in that position by yourself. I hate you had to go through that by yourself." I mean, I'm telling you, man, I'm kicking myself in the behind. Mentally, I'm tearing myself up. It's my fault. I should have did something. It was something that I just put all the blame on myself. Man, when I tell y'all, my son said I was not there, And I heard this. This is what changed the game. I heard it. I heard my son say, I wasn't there. And my spirit said, well, where were you? And he responded, I was with y'all. Man, that changed the game. So it dug in some more. I said, well, hold on. Because I still wasn't convinced at this time that this right here, I wasn't, I was on to something, but I still wasn't fully convinced yet. You know what I'm saying? So he said, no, I was with y'all. I was with y'all the whole time. And I said, I'm listening to this right here. And, fast forward, this right here is where this gray jacket, this gray and green jacket is talking about. Now, he projected a gray and green hoodie, okay, up here that either I forgot about or I never seen. And this is what he was talking about. He kept on saying gray hoodie, gray and green hoodie, gray hoodie. And it was repeated. So that's what y'all got to listen for. If y'all hear y'all loved one or y'all child, you got to listen for that repeated. They going to say something, but they going to repeat themselves over and over. For him, it was gray hoodie, gray hoodie, gray hoodie, gray hoodie. So I was in a room with his mother at the time, and out of my mouth, I asked her, I said, do Junior got a gray hoodie? And she was like, yeah, he got a gray and green hoodie, and it's this color. And she just went on and on and on. She just went on and on and on, like describing the hoodie. And the way that she was describing that hoodie was the same exact picture that I had up here. I couldn't see the from these eyes. Everything is up here now. These right here become secondary. After you done lost your child, these eyes right here is secondary. Okay? Now, these eyes up here seeing that hoodie that she was describing. Y'all, it was at that point right there that confirmed that Junior said that he wasn't there. And that's the type of confirmation that I'm talking about that I had to look for. And I would really let you guys know, hey, if you want to use that method, try it, but you're going to have to be in a calm place. You cannot be in a place of grief. And hear this, it does not work. I'm going to let you know that right now. It ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. If you in the grieving area, listen to the stuff that you hear, because in some cases you're going to hear your child again. I'm telling you, and you're going to think that it's just you remembering something. No, it ain't just no remembering nothing. And let's just go there. Let's just say it's just you remembering something, right? What part of you is doing that? What part of you, your being, is remembering something? You gonna say what, your brain? It's something beyond that that's making you remember. That's your spirit. It recognizes certain things. And if you're paying attention to it, you will recognize your child's voice. Your child may tell you that they are right. Your child is going to say certain things that later on is going to add up. This is why I tell y'all to pay attention, because later on, when you hear this stuff, you're going to want to go back later on, and you're going to piece this stuff together. It's going to start making sense. This right here is why I said that it was stuff that I was hearing in the beginning that wasn't making no sense at all. It wasn't making no sense at all. I couldn't make no sense out of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't make no sense out of it. None. But I'm going to tell you this right here, y'all, before I go. I will tell y'all this right here before I go, because I got some work to do, okay? Before I go, I will tell y'all this. If y'all got something that's small that y'all can carry with y'all for your loved one, for me, I carry my son glasses. These are the glasses that he had on the night that this stuff right here happened to him. If you look close enough, you can see the scratch marks on it right there on the edge of it right there, where his arm broke on the glasses. That came from the ground. Any scratches that you see on these glasses came from that accident or from that car wreck. That wasn't no accident. These right here was a fresh pair of glasses. These glasses wasn't even a year old. They was only a few months old. And this right here was his Skechers pair that he picked out. He picked these right here out. He picked out the Skechers pair. He picked out some Ray-Bans. Okay? But I keep these right here with me. These are glasses that he had on at the time when he passed. And we had to find these glasses in the field. These glasses right here had to be found in the field where it was last, where he last was. And so I keep these right here with me. You know what I'm saying? I keep these right here with me because his energy is still here with me. You know what I mean? And so if you got something, maybe a toy or something handy that you can, keep around with you or something like that right there, I recommend that you can do that. You'll have something that's with you. You can have something that's with you, that could remind you of your child. Your child is all right. Because right now, where your child at right now, is like you the one that's gonna have to be okay. Because your child, all that grief and all that stuff that you feeling because you done lost your child don't feel none of that stuff. Your child don't feel none of that stuff. And then your child be all off up in your dreams, taking you places. And I'm gonna tell you something. Sometimes too, you're gonna be having some dreams. For me, I had some dreams, and when I had my dreams, guess what happened? When I had my dreams, I seen my son in some of my dreams. At best, I heard him laugh. We done ran around the house and everything. And this right here was the saddening part for me in the beginning, because that dream felt so real that when I actually woke up expecting to see him, there was nothing there. That tore, that ripped me. You see what I'm saying? But I was still working at this point. You talking about the first beginning of, the first months in. And so you gonna have some dreams in there, man. And these dreams, you just gotta just pay attention to these dreams. And the biggest way that I was getting to some of these dreams is because in my sleepiest moments, what I was doing was I was taking some pictures. I didn't know I was doing this now. I was taking some pictures, and I was looking at these pictures through my phone. And I was looking through the videos at the time that I could stomach to watch. You know what I'm saying? In my sleepiest moments. That's what I was doing. Like almost falling asleep with this stuff in my phone. You know what I'm saying? And when I tell you the majority of the times that I did that, I got some answers, and he was there. He was there. Now, let me tell you this. When I did that, not every time did he show up. Some other people showed up, because when you do this right here and you dealing with that spirit realm like that, you get more than what you bargained for. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that in a negative way, but you're going to start to see the spirits like you introduced to like a whole different world. Okay? But anywho, yeah, when I'm sorry, y'all, I lost thought. When I did, when you go into this world right here, and you start to see that, and you start to see other people. I'm sorry, I forgot where I left off at. But when you go into this world and you see, these different spirits and stuff like that, I'm telling you, like it's gonna be different. It's just gonna be different, man. It's gonna be different. I didn't know that at the time that when I was going through this right here, at the time when I was going through this and I was having a dream, I didn't know that was me. That was like him showing me around. Like I done been in dreams, y'all, where I done been going down these long hallways, and these hallways ain't been like, these hallways was dark, but you could see people. You could see people just moving about, but ain't nobody saying nothing. You hear me? Ain't nobody saying nothing. Everybody is quiet. Everybody is quiet. Nobody saying nothing. And that was the thing. in these dreams, I noticed that every time I seen them, I couldn't get no words from them. Couldn't get no words. Just quiet and just standing there. And in some cases, they just stand there and just look at you. They just stand there and look at you. And I'm sitting up here like, man, what in the world? Why is you not saying nothing? But the energy is connecting. It's like an energy. It's like an energy that's connecting. And you know that you done connected with that energy really, really well when you get up. And when you get up, the way that your energy feel when you get up, it was like I was almost there. I was really there. I was really there. It's almost like, it's like, wow, something happened. You ever woke up and the dream felt so real that you was in tears? You know? Did you ever feel that way? That you was like in tears, man? When you woke up? That's because your spirit was somewhere and it connected somewhere. You wake up and all that stuff is erased from your mind. It's to the point to where now I gotta damn near sleep with a journal by my bed, because you gotta, as soon as you get up, wherever you was at, you need to write this stuff down, because it's gonna leave within 30 seconds. It damn near feel like it, you gotta get up, grab something, and write this stuff down, man. It almost feel like this stuff is unbelievable. And the stuff that will be revealed will blow your mind. You know what I'm saying? This right here, time of the year, is the best time for a lot of stuff to be revealed for what it is, not what it's supposed to be. But look, I got to get up out of here, y'all. I got some work to do. I'm sorry I couldn't respond. Let me see. I'm sorry. Nope. I'm sorry I couldn't be here too much more longer and ask questions. I really like to answer some of y'all questions if y'all had some, but I gotta start my work. I start back to work rather. So I get with y'all later on, man. Share this video to somebody y'all think might need this right here. Okay? Share this right here to somebody that y'all think might need this right here. If it could help somebody, if you think this right here could help somebody, please share it to them. Because somebody ain't all right around this time right here. First year go around, next year might be a little better for you. But this year, your first year go around, they not all right. They not all right. I know they not all right. They could try to hold up, and I get it. Try to be as strong as you can, I get it. But if that pipe bursts, I totally understand. I totally understand, because my stuff wasn't no good that first year. It wasn't. But I'm gonna get up out of here, man.